Hey there, adventure junkies. Welcome back to GoGo Travel, where we find the most incredible spots on Earth so you can add them to your bucket list and then promptly realize your passport is expired. Whoops, before we dive in, quick shout out to today's sponsor. Just kidding, we don't have one yet. But seriously, if you love travel content that doesn't put you to sleep, smash that subscribe button and ring the bell so you never miss an adventure. Today, we're counting down 25 natural wonders that are so spectacular, they'll make your Instagram feed look like a nature documentary. We're talking waterfalls that disappear into mist, deserts that look like alien planets, and migration patterns that'll restore your faith in nature. And stick around until the end, because number one is genuinely one of the most incredible things you'll ever witness on this planet. Trust me on this. Got your snacks? Comfy? Perfect. Let's go. Kicking off our list at number 25, we're heading to Venezuela for something truly epic. Picture this, water falling so far that it literally evaporates into mist before hitting the ground. That's Angel Falls for you, the world's tallest waterfall at a brain-melting 807 meters of uninterrupted freefall. To put that in perspective, that's like stacking the Statue of Liberty on top of itself 5 times. The water has so far to fall that by the time it reaches the bottom, much of it has turned into a fine spray that creates this mystical fog around the whole area. Add in the cascades above and below, and you're looking at nearly a kilometer of pure, watery drama. Now, here's the catch, and there's always a catch with the really good stuff. Angel Falls is tucked away deep in Canaima National Park, making it harder to reach than your New Year's fitness goals. We're talking a small plane ride to a remote village, followed by a river journey, and possibly some hiking. But trust us, when you finally see that water shooting off the top of a tabletop mountain and plunging into the jungle below, surrounded by some of the oldest rock formations on Earth, it's worth every mosquito bite, every bumpy plane ride, and every second of the journey. The falls were named after American aviator Jimmy Angel, who was the first to fly over them in 1933, though the local Pemon people had known about them for centuries. They call it Karapakupai Meru, which means waterfall of the deepest place. Much more poetic than Angel Falls, if you ask me. Coming in at number 24, we're hopping over to Northern Ireland's northeast coast for something that looks like a giant's DIY project gone surprisingly right. The Giant's Causeway features about 40,000, yes, 40,000, hexagonal basalt columns that are so perfectly shaped you'd swear they were stamped out by a cosmic cookie cutter. The legend says that Irish giant Finn McCool built this causeway to reach Scotland so he could fight a rival giant. When he saw how big the Scottish giant was, he ran back home and his wife disguised him as a baby. The Scottish giant saw the baby and thought, if the baby is this big, the father must be enormous, and ran back to Scotland, destroying the causeway as he went. Classic giant drama. But here's what actually happened, and honestly, it's just as cool. Spoiler alert, it was actually 60 million years of volcanic activity, tectonic shifts, and erosion. During volcanic eruptions, molten lava flowed toward the coast and cooled rapidly when it hit the sea. As the lava cooled, it contracted and cracked into these perfect hexagonal shapes, the most efficient way to release tension in the rock. Nature's basically showing off at this point. You can walk along clifftop trails for spectacular views, or take a flight of steps down to sea level where you can actually walk on these ancient columns. The stepping stone formations lead right into the ocean, and honestly, if giants were real, this would totally be their beach day hangout. Just watch your step. Those hexagons can be slippery, and you really don't want to explain to your travel insurance company that you fell because you were pretending to be a giant. At number 23, we're heading to paradise, specifically the northwest coast of Kauai. The Na Pali coast is what happens when Mother Nature goes absolutely wild with the landscape design after having one too many creative ideas. We're talking cliffs shooting up 1,200 meters, that's almost 4,000 feet, straight out of the Pacific Ocean like enormous green walls. The name Na Pali literally means the cliffs in Hawaiian. which is hilariously understated. It's like calling the Grand Canyon a big ditch. These aren't just any cliffs. They're jagged, dramatic, and covered in lush vegetation that somehow clings to near vertical surfaces. Hidden below are scenic beaches and coves that look like they were designed as screensavers for computers in heaven. Here's the thing about Nepal. The terrain is so rugged and inaccessible that there are only 3 ways to experience it. 1. You can hike the famous Kalalau Trail. 11 miles of stunning views and, oh God, why did I think this was a good idea moments. 2. You can kayak along the coast, which is amazing if you're fit and the weather cooperates. Or 3. You can take a helicopter tour and see it all from above while your pilot casually points out waterfalls like they're no big deal. Yes, Nepal is famous for being in Jurassic Park, that dramatic helicopter arrival scene at the beginning. That's here. But fun fact, these cliffs have been stealing scenes in Hollywood longer than most actors. They've appeared in King Kong, Pirates of the Caribbean, and about a dozen other films. Basically, if a movie needs dramatic coastal cliffs, they call Hawaii. Just don't expect to find any dinosaurs. We checked twice. Number 22 is the big one, the legend, the mountain that needs no introduction, but we're giving it one anyway. Mount Everest stands at 8,849 meters above sea level. That's 29,032 feet for my American friends, making it the highest point on Earth, where the air is so thin you could basically use it as a diet plan. Not recommended, by the way. Everest attracts everyone from seasoned mountaineers who've been training their entire lives, to wealthy thrill seekers who hire Sherpas to basically carry them up the mountain while they post Instagram stories. And look, I'm not judging. If I had the money, I'd probably do the same thing. Actually, no, I wouldn't. Have you seen the photos of the traffic jams at the summit? There's literally a queue to stand at the top of the world. It's like waiting in line at Starbucks, except you're dying from altitude sickness and it costs $50,000. Now, here's something interesting. While Everest is the tallest mountain, it's not the hardest to climb. That honor goes to K2, which has a way higher fatality rate and makes mountaineers cry. But don't get comfortable thinking Everest is easy. It still has plenty of ways to remind you that humans weren't meant to be up there. Altitude sickness can hit you out of nowhere. The weather can change faster than a toddler's mood. Avalanches are a real threat. And then there's the infamous death zone above 8,000 meters, where your body is literally dying because there's not enough oxygen. At the base of Everest, Sherpas and mountaineers work overtime to prepare for their summit attempts, carrying supplies, setting up camps, and doing the real heavy lifting, while most climbers focus on just surviving. The Sherpa people deserve way more credit than they get. They're the true heroes of Everest, and many of them have summited multiple times. One Sherpa, Kamirita, has reached the summit 28 times. 28 times. Meanwhile, most of us get winded walking upstairs. At number 21, Norway decided to create the world's most terrifying photo opportunity, and honestly, they nailed it. Pulpit Rock, or Preikestolen if you want to impress your Norwegian friends, is a flat-topped cliff that juts out 604 meters above Lysefjorden, like nature's own diving board. Except, diving from here would be a really, really bad idea. This geological marvel was carved during the last ice age, about 10,000 years ago, when massive glaciers retreated and left behind this perfectly flat platform. The rock measures about 25 by 25 meters, which is roughly the size of a basketball court suspended 2,000 feet in the air. No guardrails, no safety nets, just you, the rock, and your questionable life choices. The hike up takes about 2 hours from the parking lot, and it's moderately challenging. Lots of steep sections, some rocky terrain, but nothing too extreme. What is extreme is when you reach the top and see hundreds of people casually sitting with their legs dangling over the edge, taking selfies like they're at a coffee shop and not on a cliff that could theoretically collapse at any moment. Geologists say it's safe and stable, but every time someone does yoga poses near the edge, my anxiety levels go through the roof. The views, though? Absolutely jaw-dropping. You can see the deep, dark waters of the fjord below, surrounded by dramatic mountain landscapes that look like they were painted by someone who really understood the assignment. The whole scene is so stunning that Pulpit Rock attracts around 300,000 visitors every year, which is impressive considering Norway's population is only about 5 million. Pro tip: maybe don't look down if you're afraid of heights. And definitely don't go when it's windy, and possibly reconsider your life choices if you're planning to propose up there, because nothing says "I love you" like mutual terror. Number 20 takes us to Mars, except it's actually southern Jordan. Welcome to Wadi Rum, a desert valley that Hollywood uses whenever they need to fake the red planet, and honestly, when you see it, you'll understand why. Thanks to its reddish-orange sandstone mountains and towering granite cliffs, this place looks more alien than most sci-fi movie sets. Wadi Rum has played Mars in movies like The Martian and Red Planet, stood in for alien worlds in Star Wars, and basically become Hollywood's go-to location for not Earth. The distinctive coloring comes from iron oxide, basically rust, in the sandstone, giving everything this incredible otherworldly glow, especially at sunset when the whole desert turns shades of red and orange that don't look real. No permanent settlements exist in this secluded desert region, but nomadic Bedouin tribes do occasionally pass through, probably wondering why there are so many film crews and tourists wandering around with cameras. These tribes have been crossing Wadi Rum for thousands of years and know the desert like you know your neighborhood, which is impressive considering everything kind of looks the same out there. You can ride camels across the amazing desert landscape, though be warned, camels are not comfortable. They're tall, they sway a lot, and they have opinions about everything. But there's something magical about crossing this ancient landscape the same way people have for millennia. At night, you can camp out under the clearest, most star-filled sky you've ever seen. Without any light pollution, the Milky Way is so bright and clear that you'll finally understand why ancient people created so many star myths. It's like someone spilled glitter across the entire sky. Fun fact: Lawrence of Arabia operated out of Wadi Rum during the Arab Revolt in World War I, and yes, they filmed the movie here too. So you're not just visiting a beautiful desert, you're walking through actual history. Just, watch out for scorpions. At number 19, let me introduce you to the overachiever of the lake world. The Pearl of Siberia holds more superlatives than a valedictorian's resume. Deepest lake on Earth at 1,642 meters deep. Oldest lake on Earth at 25 to 30 million years old. And clearer water than your conscience after a really good therapy session. Here's a mind-blowing fact. Lake Baikal contains more water than all 5 Great Lakes in North America combined. It holds about 20% of the world's fresh surface water. That feels like overkill, but Russia doesn't do anything small. If Lake Baikal were emptied, which please don't, it would take all the rivers on Earth a full year to refill it. The lake is also a biological wonderland. About 80% of the species living in and around Lake Baikal exist nowhere else on Earth. There's the Nerpa, the world's only freshwater seal, which somehow ended up 2,000 miles from the nearest ocean. Scientists still aren't sure how they got there. The seals apparently didn't feel like explaining. In summer, Lake Baikal is a shimmering beauty, with water so clear you can see 40 meters down in some places. The summer sun glints off its dark blue surface, and it's perfect for swimming if you don't mind water that's basically liquid ice. In winter though, winter is when things get really interesting. The lake freezes solid. We're talking 2 meters thick in some parts, turning into the world's largest ice skating rink. But the coolest part about winter at Lake Baikal is the ice itself. Because the water is so pure and clear, the ice freezes transparent, creating these incredible formations. You get ice caves, ice towers, and these amazing patterns in the ice that look like frozen lightning. It's so clear you can see straight down into the dark water below, which is both beautiful and mildly terrifying. Nature lovers, pack your bags and your warmest coat. Actually, pack multiple coats. This is Siberia. Coming in at number 18 is basically the dictionary definition of paradise. If paradise had a postcode, it would be the Maldives. This archipelago in the Indian Ocean is basically what happens when you ask a 5-year-old to draw their dream vacation and then hire a team of architects to make it real. Located right in the middle of the Indian Ocean, close to the equator, the Maldives enjoys a warm and tropical climate that's perfect for lazy beach days literally all year round. This low-lying island group, we're talking an average height of 1.5 meters above sea level, is celebrated for its ridiculous level of luxury and emphasis on the slow life. If you're stressed in the Maldives, you're doing it wrong. Let's talk accommodation, because this is where things get wild. Underwater villas? Check. You can literally sleep surrounded by fish swimming past your bedroom windows. Overwater bungalows that feel like you're floating on the ocean? Check. Infinity pools that blend into the horizon? Check. There's even an underwater restaurant where you can dine surrounded by schools of tropical fish watching you eat their cousins. Okay, that's dark, but it's also incredible. The Maldives is basically designed for honeymooners, romantic getaways, and anyone who's achieved that level of I've made it wealth, where you can afford $1,000 a night resorts. But here's a secret. There are also budget-friendly local islands where you can experience the beauty without selling a kidney. You'll still see the same crystal clear turquoise waters, white sand beaches, and incredible marine life. As relaxation is key in the Maldives, you can spend your days sipping cocktails with tiny umbrellas, sunbathing on beaches that look photoshopped, and occasionally going on diving excursions to keep things interesting. The underwater world here is insane. Vibrant coral reefs, manta rays gliding by like they're showing off, whale sharks, the gentle giants of the sea, and more colourful fish than you can count. It's so idyllic that even relaxation feels like hard work. Just grab a hammock and try not to compare your life to this. Spoiler, you'll lose. Number 17 is Canada's oldest national park, is basically a greatest hits album of natural beauty. Lake Louise and Moraine Lake are so photogenic they should charge for headshots. Add in glaciers, ice fields, and wildlife that includes bears, and you've got a year-round destination that draws 3 million visitors annually. They come for skiing in winter, hiking in summer, and Instagram content all year round. The Canadian Rockies, making everyone else's mountains look like speed bumps since 1885. At number 16, welcome to what is essentially nature's mirror. The world's largest salt flat, Salar de Uyuni, is 10,000 square kilometers of the most surreal landscape you'll ever see. Located in the Andes Mountains in southwest Bolivia at 3,656 meters elevation, this place is basically proof that Earth has a sense of humor. During the dry season, roughly May to October, the salt flat is an endless white landscape that stretches to the horizon in every direction. It's so flat and so vast that it's used to calibrate satellites. NASA uses it as a reference point because it's one of the flattest places on Earth. Walking on it feels like walking on another planet, and the lack of any reference points plays tricks on your depth perception. This is where you get those famous perspective-bending photos of people looking tiny next to giant objects, or huge next to tiny objects. But the area is most breathtaking during the rainy season, roughly November to March, when a thin layer of water covers the salt flat. And this is where things get truly magical. The water creates a perfect mirror effect, reflecting the sky so perfectly that the horizon disappears. You literally cannot tell where the ground ends and the sky begins. It's like walking on clouds, or through space, or in a dream. The reflection of the blue sky, with clouds drifting across the water's surface, creates a spectacular and surreal landscape that doesn't look real even when you're standing in it. The salt flat was formed when several prehistoric lakes dried up between 30,000 and 42,000 years ago, leaving behind a salt desert crust over 10 meters thick in the center. Underneath that crust is a brine lake, rich in lithium. In fact, Salar de Uyuni contains between 50% to 70% of the world's lithium reserves. So you're literally walking on the future of electric car batteries. One of the most unusual places to visit in South America, it's also a major breeding ground for flamingos, because apparently, regular salt flats weren't extra enough. Several species of flamingos come here to breed, and seeing pink flamingos against the white salt with blue sky reflected in the water is something that looks too beautiful to be real. There are also hotels made entirely of salt blocks for walls, salt furniture, everything except the tourists is made of salt. Though, given how salty some tourists can be, I'll show myself out. Number 15 is America's first national park, founded in 1872, and still the reigning champion of wait what moments. Yellowstone has erupting geysers like Old Faithful, punctual and dramatic, rainbow-colored hot springs like the Grand Prismatic Spring, thanks thermophilic bacteria, and even its own Grand Canyon. When explorers first described this place, people literally didn't believe them. Honestly, we get it. Yellowstone is what happens when Earth decides to show off all its geological party tricks at once. Number 14 is Iguazu Falls, Argentina/Brazil. With 275 waterfalls spread across nearly 3 kilometers, Iguazu Falls looked at Niagara and said, "Hold my mate T." The crown jewel is Devil's Throat Canyon, where teeming sheets of water create a roar so loud you'll need to shout to have a conversation. Best viewed from Brazil's side, though Argentina will fight you on that. Surrounded by lush rainforest and offering boat trips that guarantee you'll get soaked, Iguazu is basically nature's water park for grown-ups. Number 13 is Sahara Desert, North Africa. The Sahara covers most of northern Africa and is almost as large as the entire United States. Let that sink in. Contrary to popular belief, it's not all rolling sand dunes. Most of it is rocky plateaus that would make for very boring Lawrence of Arabia remakes. With less than 3 inches of rain per year and some areas going years without a single drop, the Sahara is basically Earth's way of saying not everywhere can be the rainforest, folks. Number 12 is Galapagos Islands, Ecuador. Want to see what dinosaurs might have looked like? The Galapagos Islands are your time machine. Giant tortoises that look older than your grandpa, iguanas that could star in a monster movie, and wildlife so unique that Charles Darwin based his entire controversial theory of evolution on them. These 18 volcanic islands, sitting 550 miles off Ecuador's coast, are still being formed by volcanic activity. It's basically Earth's ongoing science experiment, and tourists are invited to observe. At number 11, we have Pamukkale, Turkey. It is also called Cotton Castle in Turkish, and honestly, that's underselling it. Pamukkale's white terraces look like someone spilled bleach all over a hillside and created art by accident. These travertine formations, created by mineral-rich hot springs, have been attracting bathers for thousands of years. The ancient Greeks built an entire city, Hierapolis, on top of it, because apparently they also appreciated a good spa day. The ruins are still there, making this a combo deal of natural wonder and ancient history. Number 10 is Zhangjiajie National Forest, China. If Avatar's floating mountains looked familiar, it's because they were inspired by Zhangjiajie. This forest in northwest Hunan province features thousands of sandstone pillars and peaks, many towering over 200 meters high, often shrouded in mist like they're auditioning for a fantasy film. Spoiler, they've already got the job. With subtropical rainforest covering the karst formations, plunging ravines and sparkling waterways, Zhangjiajie proves that China's landscape game is absolutely unmatched. At number 9, we have the Northern Lights, Arctic regions. Solar activity meets Earth's magnetic field, and boom, the sky puts on a light show that would make any Vegas production look like a flashlight. The aurora borealis dances across the Arctic sky in greens, purples and pinks, best viewed in winter when nights are longest. Pro tip, the further north you go and the further from light pollution, the better the show. Sure, you'll freeze your butt off, but some things are worth hypothermia. Kidding, dress warmly. Number 8 is Great Barrier Reef, Australia. The world's largest coral reef system stretches over 1,400 miles and is visible from space, which is basically the marine equivalent of having a massive neon sign saying, I'm a big deal. With 900 islands dotting this colossal ecosystem, the Great Barrier Reef is best experienced underwater through snorkeling or scuba diving. Swimming through turquoise waters with dolphins, sea turtles, and countless tropical fish is the kind of experience that makes you reconsider your entire life living on land. Number 7 is Antarctica. The coldest, driest, and windiest continent also somehow manages to be one of the most beautiful. About 98% covered in ice, Antarctica is technically a desert. Mind blown. And it's colder than the Arctic because it's basically a giant ice cube sitting 2 miles above sea level. The wildlife here is hardcore. Penguins waddling around like they own the place, blue whales cruising offshore, and seals lounging on ice like they're at a frozen beach resort. It's inhospitable, expensive to visit, and absolutely worth it. At number 6, we're heading to Indonesia for an active volcano that looks like it was designed by a sci-fi movie set designer who really understood the assignment. Mount Bromo in East Java is part of the Tengger Massif, and at 2,329 meters, it's not even the tallest peak in the area. That honor goes to Mount Semeru at 3,676 meters. But what Mount Bromo lacks in height, it more than makes up for in sheer dramatic presence. Here's what makes Bromo so special. The top of the volcano has been blown off in past eruptions, leaving a crater that constantly belches white sulfurous smoke, giving it this ominous apocalyptic vibe. The crater is active, like right now active, and you can hike right up to the rim and peer down into this steaming, smoking pit. It's both awe-inspiring and mildly terrifying, like looking into the Earth's actual guts. But wait, it gets better. Mount Bromo is surrounded by the Sea of Sand, a vast, flat expanse of fine volcanic sand and ash that stretches for kilometers in every direction. This isn't beach sand. This is volcanic desert that looks like it belongs on another planet. Walking across it feels surreal, especially in the early morning when mist rolls across the surface. The overall effect is unsettlingly unearthly, like you've stepped into a different dimension. The most popular way to experience Bromo is to wake up before dawn. We're talking 3 a.m. wake-up calls and drive to one of the viewpoints. The most famous is Mount Penanjakan, where you can watch the sunrise over Mount Bromo and the surrounding volcanic landscape. As the sun rises, it illuminates the smoking crater, the sea of sand, and the surrounding peaks in shades of orange, pink, and gold. It's one of those moments where you forget how cold you are and how early you woke up because the view is just that spectacular. After sunrise, you can drive or ride a horse across the sea of sand to the base of Mount Bromo, then climb the 250+ steps to the crater rim. The smell of sulfur gets stronger as you climb. It's like 1,000 rotten eggs. But the view from the top is worth every whiff. You're literally standing on the edge of an active volcano, watching smoke and gas pour out of the crater below. Indonesia said, "Let's make an active volcano a major tourist attraction." And you know what? Bold move, but it works. At number 5, we have Victoria Falls, Zambia/Zimbabwe. If Niagara Falls is the popular kid in school, Victoria Falls is the cool older sibling who shows up and steals the show. At 1,708 meters wide and 108 meters high, it's the largest waterfall in the world by area. The locals called it the smoke that thunders, which is way more metal than Victoria Falls. The roar is deafening, the spray is constant, and the sheer volume of water tumbling over the cliff is almost impossible to comprehend. Straddling the border between Zambia and Zimbabwe, this natural wonder demands to be witnessed in person. Number 4 is Grand Canyon, USA. The Grand Canyon is so famous it needs no introduction, but we're giving it one anyway, because we're extra like that. Carved by the Colorado River over millions of years, this mile-deep gash in the earth is a geological masterpiece of light, shadow, and sheer scale. Whether you visit the North or South Rim, yes, there are rim wars, you're in for views that'll make your brain short-circuit trying to process the size. You can even hike down to the canyon floor if you're feeling ambitious and have good knees. Number 3 is Ha Long Bay, Vietnam. Imagine a fantasy novel's cover art, but it's real. Ha Long Bay in northeastern Vietnam features thousands of limestone karst islands jutting out of emerald waters like a dragon's spine. Ha Long literally means descending dragon, which is both accurate and way cooler than most place names. Some islands contain lakes, others hide colourful grottos that look straight out of a fairy tale. An overnight boat trip through the bay is the best way to experience this UNESCO World Heritage Site and feel like you've sailed into another world. Number 2 is Amazon Rainforest, South America. Ready for a mind-blowing fact? The Amazon contains roughly 390 billion trees. Billion. Covering about 3/4 of the Amazon River basin, this is the world's largest tropical rainforest and home to more species than a nature documentary could cover in a lifetime. 60% sits in Brazil, with Peru and Colombia holding sizable chunks. It's basically Earth's lungs, medicine cabinet, and wildlife sanctuary all rolled into one impossibly green package. The Amazon isn't just a wonder, it's essential. And the number 1 spot goes to the greatest show on Earth that doesn't require a ticket. Every year, over 1 million wildebeest and 200,000 zebra make a 300-mile round trip across the Serengeti ecosystem, from Tanzania to Kenya and back. This mass movement is the largest migration of land mammals on the planet. Think of it as nature's own epic road trip, but with more predators and way better cinematography. Watching this unfold is like witnessing the pulse of life itself. It's raw, it's powerful, and it's absolutely unforgettable. And there you have it, folks. 25 natural wonders that prove our planet is basically showing off. Which one are you adding to your bucket list first? Let us know in the comments, hit that subscribe button, and remember, the world is big, beautiful, and waiting for you to explore it. Until next time, keep wandering. This is GoGo Travel, signing off.